So, y'all, I found a couple of German fairy tales I used to read when I was young, and I wrote them down in English for y'all to read like a couple weeks ago, so I already forgot what the fuck I wrote down. But let's start with the most infamous one that I still remember very clearly. I don't know why the fuck it traumatized me, this story, so badly, but I read this story, I think. I know I someone read this to me when I was like 5 or something like that, I think. The story of the thumbsucker. In German it's called Die Geschichte vom Daumenlutscher. And then the story basically goes: a mother warns little Conrad not to suck his thumbs while she's out. She tells him that a tailor will come with a big scissors and cut them off. Of course, he sucks them anyway, and indeed, the scissor man bursts in and snips off his thumb. When his mother returns, she finds him without thumbs and crying. Y'all don't even want to know what the book was like. I saw the book with pictures. Trauma. There was blood. Sicked. Soup-Kasperl. In German, Die Geschichte vom Suppenkasperl. So, all of the other stories didn't traumatize me as much. I don't know why. I mean, there was one where I'm not gonna spoil that one, but I know there's like a context, a little bit of I remember them okay-ish, but the thumbsucker traumatized me so fucking badly. I don't know why. Casper is a healthy, plump boy who refuses to eat his soup one day. Over several days, he persists in refusing, growing thinner and weaker. On the 5th day, he dies from refusing to eat. The story ends with his grave, with a soup tureen placed on it. It was basically a story about eat your healthy soup. If you don't, you will die. Okay, third story. The very sad tale with matches. Oh, I remember this one. Die gar traurige Geschichte mit dem Feuerzeug. A girl, Pauline, and the story called Paulinchen, but we're gonna call her Pauline because Paulinchen is a nickname for Pauline. Fun fact. Is left at home alone. She finds a box of matches, despite warnings from her nurse or mother, and cats she played with the matches, lights them, is distracted, dances around with the flames, eventually catches on fire. It is burned completely. Here's the thing, y'all. All these stories, they were with pictures. They were children fairy tales. So basically, her hair caught on fire. I don't have the picture book with me, but I remember this. It was either her dress or her hair that caught on fire, and there was these cats. They were all like, "Oh my goodness, you should have listened." And the crows were like, "Oh my goodness," and then she burned to death, and all that is left is her ashes. And all of the animals just looking at the ashes, traumatized. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, only her little shoes remain, her cats mourn. Yeah, no shit, it has to be. Fourth story, the story of the Inky Boy, die Geschichte vom schwarzen Buben. 3 boys tease a dark-skinned boy to teach them a lesson. A character named Nicholas, or Agrippa in some translations, dips them in ink. It's less physically fatal, but humiliating and shocking. You know, that was really racist. Why? Why does this book exist? We're not gonna question, all right? Also, yeah, if you're like, how many books did you find? I found 8 in total. So, yay. Fifth, the story of the Wild Huntsman, aka in German, Die Geschichte vom wilden Jäger. This one is a bit less directly about misbehaving children, but still disturbing in a bit. In it, a hare steals a hunter's gun and glasses and turns the tables, hunting the hunter in the chaos. The hare's child is burned by hot coffee, and the hunter ends up falling into a well, presumably dying. Don't ask me what was going on with German fairy tale book writers back when I was younger. They were a little cuckoo. They were a bit insane, because why? Next up, we have Johnny Look into the Air, which in German is called Die Geschichte von Hans Guck in die Luft. Apparently, for y'all, it's called Johnny. And yes, this story did exist in America. This boy always walks to... my goodness, I can't speak. This boy always walks looking up, distracted, not watching where he's going. One day he doesn't watch where he's going, falls into a river. He is rescued in most versions, but loses his briefcase or whatever he was carrying, or has to suffer the consequences of carelessness by drowning. So you could guess what version got made it into the German one by how violent these other ones have been. Yay! Sixth story is Fidgety Philip, Die Geschichte vom Zappel Philipp, which that was the German translation. Philip can't sit still at the table. He fidgets, spills his food, generally misbehaves at meals. The story ends with him getting punished in the illustration. You know, it's not quite a violently fatal as some of others, but it's still meant to scar. You want not scar, scare. Philip gets physically basically abused. Physical punishments, yay! Bro, I swear, the German like childhood books I grew up with, cuckoo. What the fuck? I wrote this I don't know when I wrote all of this down, but I wrote this I think a couple of weeks ago, because in my notes app it says a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just like, what the fuck did I find? What the fuck? Here's the thing, I just wrote down basically a summary of each story, so no, y'all are not getting traumatized by the pictures. I'm not that cruel, but imagine a 5-year-old just getting read that or reading that. Trauma. And now for the 8th one, Wicked Frederick, Die Geschichte vom bösen Friedrich. A boy is very cruel, violent, mistreats animals and people. He injures a dog. He is cruel. Eventually, the dog bites him. While Frederick is bedridden or weakened by the bite, the dog goes and eats Frederick's food. Symbolic, it's supposed to be humiliation and punishment. It ends on a dark note by basically Frederick doesn't get to eat his food and stuff. But Frederick honestly deserved it. This is the only kid that deserved punishment. The other one where the one kid was misbehaving was really, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, ADHD. And here's the thing, right? One time I was talking about these kinds of stories, and some of my friends were like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, I remember that one story." I think everyone knows, every German kid around my age knows the one with the thumb. And why were our parents letting us why? What was up back when we were younger? Bro, I don't know what the fuck was up with us. No wonder we're fucked up.